Welcome to Siddhartha's Intent Australia, Living is Dying. My name is Kirsten. Today I would like to welcome our guest speaker, Raktu Rinpoche Do Tulku, who will speak on the Bardo of Dharmata. Thank you so much, Rinpoche. Begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and other lands, and recognize their connection to land, waters, and culture. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. Hello, Rinpoche. A very warm welcome to you on this auspicious Guru Rinpoche Day. I would like to say a few words of introduction for those who may not know you. Rinpoche, you are the resident Lama and spiritual guide of the Ayataras Net Center near Cologne in Germany, where you also live with your family. Following your recognition by His Holiness Sakya Treason at the age of 17 as the reincarnation of the fifth Raktu Rinpoche, you received an 11-year training in Buddhist philosophy, practice and debate at the Songsa Khyentse Chökyi Institute in India, from which you graduated with the title of Acharya Lopon. You have received teachings, transmissions, and initiations from some of the greatest masters of our time, including His Holiness Dalai Lama, His Holiness Sakya Treason, Khenchen Kunga Wongchuk, Songsa Jamyang Khyentse Rinpoche, Dakshin Rinpoche, Luding Khenchen Rinpoche, and many more. Following the instructions of your teacher, Songsa Khyentse Rinpoche, you now teach regularly in Asia, Europe, and South America. You have also worked as a translator for the 84,000 Project and an expert advisor for the Khyentse Vision Project. Rinpoche, thank you so much for taking time out from your busy North American teaching tour to be with us from Los Angeles at 12 a.m. your time. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Lasso Kadinche, thank you. Kanji Sergio Rancherben Mandara dalla Juni Jinda, thinking the root members on the Belunum kind, the Kanjer and Nepal of the Gaver, Bazimba Kaimba, Tatatam Jetrabatam Buku to be Sunin in the Dirshe, she had a lemon miamchi, Bambodan, Jajin Las Sujichola Chavachebanam Sangi Song of the teaching the Vijuru. Tatashi Tambi Chinin in the Dirshe, Kondo Chujutongi, and the Chilomar Baka, so that thing that Timbichi Cherabin and Brother Batam Dirshe. Namo like the Ludan Jiggy Drum that the meat and the door Gunjitanam Chisambartam Chiki to Dagich and Alden Savel Lama Rumbuche Dagich payment in the cutting Chimpagone Jesu. Coson to Jingo drops are those Tapget to Jeshati Risutron, Shinjim to the Jipunjamba. Sergio Lumbo Dabrujibu Jabishabla Chatsolo Chadon Kolo Jabot. Chandong Kapasampo Sangidon Gala County Della Derden Cheres La Chasolo Jawadam Ji, Shikunji to Sishikunji Patu Jambe La Chasolo County Tony Shinji, Ponala Sodawan. Town is Georgia Jabo, the Jijan La Chasolo, Corwali to Taremoto, the Ray Jiju to Renon, Moyum La Chasal, Shichatam Jessica, Drogin Jelly Drube, two judges, some Elizabeth on our jungle, a measure of Logo Jansa, so the Salama Kensewa, just Salama Kensewa. Shinji of Shilama Kenzo. Tengmin Kaulama Kensewa. Silder Zigdan Lama Kensewa. Tujas. Cheno Lama Chense de Chen. Chinla Terjin Daniel Lama Jambal de Cheno, Chugutalo, Ningli Kolo, Namsam Kanki Chaldans, Sentaji, Tambemeba, Tigungum Suzi. Jasitu, Namdar Subject Jachitala, Nirzu, Yabjini, Lajendala Rama, Chikan and Tanyans, and Kundu Jamen Kubisam Niji, Tuji, Chungzem, and Jasuni Rangin, Belebis, Tadum, Kenyan Major Bad Caption, Solvar Major Roach, Ujin Eugene of Jones and Pemarcas Rodombola, Yansen Choking Odom, Nipamacho, Neshesutra, Cordo, Kandra Mamburg, Chiji, Jesu, Tadu, Shinji, Lobjer Shiksu, Guru Pemasidi, Kusum Lama, Sojadoje, Talacho Domojango Drops. Ujjambujala zo dem galjam parjim me joji tunjin samba droba no chodon to mo drop tal lasso tachidele Welcome to this session of Living is Dying. Thank you so much for your generous, compassionate, diligent activity. It's mainly, Living is Dying Siddhartha Intent, Australia. And Sanghas from around the world who make these teachings happen, which are basically us trying to study what our teacher Manjushri Dzongsa Khyentse Rinpoche have so compassionately written in his book. Those of us who have read Bardo of Dharmata, this book about Bardo, basically the practices on when someone dies or when we ourselves are, when we die. Total. Hearing upon liberation, I think that's the name of the book. So then we can really see how Rinpoche has skillfully presented such a complex teaching, such a complex visualization and appearance. Even though I myself know nothing about these teachings, I felt that I must make some attempt, some sort of, since seeing how so many students of Rinpoche are working so diligently. So before I start, I would like to just recite the 100 syllables a couple of times for all the mistakes I'm going to make. So the topic is Bardo of Dharmata, Chumi Bardo. Also in the book, Rinpoche written Sambhogakaya, and in commentaries and other instructions, you find it's called Sambhogakaya Bardo. According to the Sutra path, seeing of Dharmata, it's not possible. Non-conceptual inherent wisdom to appear or to be seen, experienced, while being an ordinary sentient being is not possible. Only when we reach the first bhumi, then we get experience of such non-conceptual inherent wisdom, or here Dharmata, we call it Dharmata or Rikpa, Mahamudra, inseparability of samsara and nirvana, the great middle path, Buddha nature, most famously called Buddha nature, known as Buddha nature. So in Sutra path, it's just not possible. Now, in the Vajrayana path, on the Vajrayana path, we can come face to face with such a reality in two ways. One, out of the generation and dissolution of our physical body, physical forms. Time when we enter the womb of our mother, or the time when all the elements of our body begins to fail, and all the faculties stop functioning, and so conceptual mind loses its base, and sort of the true nature of mind, the uncompounded nature of mind, is then laid bare. And then the other way is through initiation. We can see such a reality, such a dharmata through initiation, when our root guru so kindly grants us initiation and points out the true nature of things, true nature of ourselves. And if we have devotion, accumulation and purification, it is possible to experience such non-conceptual wisdom while being an ordinary sentient being. So, here we are talking about Bardo of Dharmata. It is something that is actually nothing special. It happens to everyone. It has happened to us countless of times. And if we fail this time, it will happen again and again and again. Without having instruction, without having blessing, without having blessing and the of the guru and the lineage, the mandala, the deities, it's just not possible to recognize it. So in the sutra path, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas experience immense compassion when they look at sentient beings and they see how close to awakening we are. Awakening, which is nothing more than Buddha nature itself, is already here while we are sentient beings. And so in the sutras also we find Buddha, words of Buddha such as all beings are Buddha, fully awakened, yet it is temporarily obscured, hidden. Or as Maitreya says in, sorry to the translators, as Maitreya says in Ornament of Clear Realization, there is nothing to add, there is nothing to remove. See, look at things as they are. And if you see things as they are, you are liberated. So we have such instructions and teachings in Sutra Path. On the Vajrayana Path, then, not only that we have Buddha nature, it bears itself again and again. And so it's extremely frustrating for a yogi or yogini to contemplate How many times have I missed the mark? Not once, not twice. Since from beginningless of time, every time I have had such physical form. At the beginning, such dharmata has revealed itself. During also, many times surely, if we were fortunate. But definitely during the at the end of sort of our so-called life. Contemplating like this, then I think this is really necessary to have renunciation, not seeing, not recognizing dharmata as dharmata when it lays bare right in front of us, is the cause of samsara. Chiyam mishi thomewa theka marik tulbe juice in the Samantabhadra Mahasandhi prayer. Chiyam mishe tomewa, not knowing anything, being completely bewildered. That kind of unawareness is the cause of illusory existence, they say, all delusion. Just as on the Mahayana path, the biggest fear of Bodhisattva is losing bodhicitta, losing compassion, becoming self-centered, having self-preference. So the Bodhisattva generates renunciation towards that. Similarly here, having impure perception, that is our fear. And now pure perception doesn't necessarily mean you see some things, not necessarily that. But the purest of the perception is seeing things as they are. And this happens, such opportunity to see the true identity, the true face of ourselves is given to us, thankfully, because of the Vajra body. So in the Vajrayana, not only our mind, but also this physical form, and not this physical form that is visible, but a very subtle physical form is also extremely important. Actually, everything that we see and experience is due to that. So first we experience Bardo of death, dying. I believe previous speakers have spoken upon this. As I said before, during the time of death, all the elements fail, as Rinpoche describes in this book, in how the elements dissolve, disintegrate, and because of which then the faculties fail to function. And so our mind is left without any reference, any direction, anything to grasp, or any kind of view to think of. That is then the Bardo of Dharmakaya. I don't know if that is how it is called, but that's when we see Dharmakaya, Dharmata. In this text, Rinpoche writes at the Bardo of death. He writes, Bardo of death or Bardo of dying. He writes Dharmakaya. So, if a practitioner then sees it at that time, that very moment, that becomes the sort of realization of the ultimate truth in a very sort of sutra language. Or in the Vajrayana, they say that's when that is like the meeting of mother and son. Right now, we are trying to contemplate on Dharmata. We are thinking, what is Dharmata? And we are learning, we are hearing, we are imagining, we are guessing. Oh, maybe Dharmata, the reality, sort of the true reality of all things must be like this. Maybe it is like that. And we have some ideas about it. And if we persevere, maybe we gain some experience of it. That kind of experience is like a child, which actually is born from the Dharmata itself. Yet there is a separation of mother and child. And at the time of the death, when Dharmata actually bears itself, because of our familiarity with it, just as a child, when it sees its mother, after a long sort of separation, it just runs directly to the mother. There's no hesitation. Similarly, hopefully, because of our practice while we are alive, at the moment of our death, we'll do that. So all this phenomena of staying in tukdam, this is sort of, that's when it's supposed to happen. But most sentient beings fail to recognize it. And so the experience is that of similar to fainting. If, it's like as if they fainted. The uncompounded, unfabricated dharmata, it lays bare and it is not recognized. And also then there is no sort of other kind of conceptualization. So then I guess the experience is like fainting. So we fail. If that happens, then we have failed. And then we reach to today's topic, which is the Bardo of Dharmata, Chuni Bardo. Which writes Sambhogakaya. Now, during this Bardo, there is then a lot of appearance of sound, light, colors, and so on. So, we are told that we will hear sound, we will experience bright light, we will experience colors, but actually those are nothing but expression, self-expression of our Buddha nature, Dharmata. And the Bardo being is advised not to be afraid, because you do not have such a material form. You think you have a body, but it is actually more of a it's like sort of a mental body. It's not really a body, but what is supposed to happen is that, so let's say I am in Bardo at this point. Then what my experience is, I see myself having a very similar form of my past life. Especially during such an early stage of Bardo. So, but it is not. Yet, just as right now, when I protect myself from danger, it happens that during Bardo too, when sort of loud noises and colors and light shines, I get afraid. I try to protect myself as if I have a body. So Bardo being is reminded that it is not, you cannot be harmed. And not only that, then to understand all these sounds and colors and forms as creation of your own mind, of your own dharmata. But we faint, not recognizing, we faint. I guess not exactly sure. This kind of fainting is exactly same as how we faint right now. When if a coconut fall on my head somehow, and I faint, become unconscious. I don't know if it's exactly the same, but I guess the experiences that are very similar. We black out, so to speak. We do not know what happened. Then again, the being arises and begins to think, what has happened to me? And when such sort of conceptual fear or hope arises within our mind, the appearance of peaceful and wrathful deities begin, they say. Now I really, I think these things are to be received from one's own root gurus. Their sort of symbolism, significance, but just to be sort of brief. In the beginning, they say the appearance of peaceful deity arises. Now, since we do not have a physical form, experiences, which says experiences direct, and also these enlightened wisdom is experienced as colors and lights, and also afflictive emotions also manifest as colors and lights. I guess it is understandable. Even when we are alive, it's easy to indulge in afflictive emotions than to try and remain in dharmata. This is our habit. This is what we know. This is what we do. We are familiar with this. So when we die, and like appearance of 5 Dhyani Buddhas arises. Not recognizing them, frightened by the brightness of the light that shines forth from their heart. We take refuge in a different type of light, in a different type of color that is a bit dull, that is tolerable, that is familiar. Anyway, as Rinpoche has written about this, so. But again and again, we have failed for many lifetimes to understand what's happening, to to seize the moment. And so the next appearance is that of wrathful deities. In the instruction manuals, they say the wrathful deities, when that appearance happen, if we could just understand what's going on a little bit, if we could see what's going on a little bit, it's a bit easier, because out of extreme fear, our mind is sort of one-pointed. I don't know what that means. Anyway, if in that moment we are unafraid, we are familiar with this very naked expression of the true nature of our mind, then again liberation happens. And if we miss, then we move on to the next delusion, or the next, yeah. In the Sakyapa tradition, we are advised to always remember Guru, the root Guru, who gives us initiation, who points out the true sort of face of Dharmata to us. To always remember the Guru, to pray, make supplication, to and the mandala, in which mandala where you put in, and instructions. At least the Guru, the root Guru. And it can be an outer Guru. So remember the outer Guru, remember their face, their expression, the way they smile, the walk. All of this is expression of an awakened being, similar to the appearance that we will see in Bardo. And but most importantly, contemplating on the secret Guru, which is the true nature of our own mind, which is the Buddha nature, or here the Dharmata. Generating devotion, not towards an external phenomena, but towards one's own Dharmata, the Dharmata of one's own mind. Getting to know it, learning about it, hearing about it, contemplating about it, accumulating merit to see it, to have a yearning, making purification. That is how we may succeed. And during the waking hours, to mix the experience of dream and awakened state, or to ask oneself again and again, is this Bardo? Am I in Bardo? Now, when I say Bardo, I'm using it for this very specific state that we are talking about today. And there are a lot of similarities. All the things that we have done up until now, where are they? They're all gone. Gone where? Nowhere, actually. All the things that will come, where do they come from? From nowhere. And the present moment, this very fleeting present moment, is gone while we are talking about it. Gone nowhere. It's not trustworthy. So, to try and break this very rigid, solid belief in permanence, singularity, that's how we get closer and closer to sort of having a fighting chance in Bardo. because it's I think it's going to be quite wild, scary to, to be unknown, unrecognized, alone, naked in unfamiliar territory. So yeah, from now on, to contemplate all thoughts, all appearance, all sound as mere expression of our own Buddha nature. I think maybe that's how we may be able to realize it. And of course, another way of recognizing this is through through instructions. When someone that is close to us, well, when someone dies, as Rinpoche says in this book, that try to call upon all Bardo beings who are in such state, and then recite these instructions. And you never know who is at which point, at which stage, so then recite it completely, once, twice, thrice. Bardo being having slight clairvoyance, being free from sort of physical cage, is 7 times more capable than this kind of ordinary mind. It's a very good chance that they will recognize it. Or hopefully when we die, our Dharma brothers and sisters will do that for us. I don't know, but what else to say for now? Do we have questions?
Thank you so much, Rinpoche, for guiding us through the Bardo of Dharmata. So inspiring and profound, and really something to aspire to. So Rinpoche, you kindly offer to answer questions. If everyone can please submit them in the Q&A box. Please keep the questions relevant to the Bardo of Dharmata. But in the meantime, we would like to show you an offering of film on the Bardo of Dharmata, produced by our team member, Leanne Metcalf, and narrated by our very own guest, Do Tulku Rinpoche. Please enjoy.
Your favorite place.
The uncontrived Buddha state was so unfamiliar and so unbearable, I fainted.
You have now recovered from your faint. Everything you are experiencing terrifies you. Violent fury rages. Sharp, angular shapes and symbols surround you. Wrathful figures and tumultuous sounds fill your perception. Never before have you seen or heard anything like it. Om Mani Padme Hum. Grotesque figures with many heads and flaming faces fill all of space. A strange and thunderous cacophony deafens you. Sharp needles of light pierce the space around you. Om Mani Padme Hum. Do not be afraid. This is the radiance, the display, the dance, the ebb and flow of the same Buddha that your mind experiences at the moment of death. You're afraid because the experience is so alien. This has never happened to you before. Try to remember, this is the nature of your mind. This is the Buddha. Om Mani Padme Hum. Once again, you have missed your chance for liberation, not recognizing the wrathful forms as the display of your own Buddha nature. You fainted. You have now recovered, and the infinite rainbow-like colors, sounds and shapes you are experiencing are peaceful and soothing like the calm after a storm. The light is dazzlingly bright, and you think you have a form, a body. Rainbow-colored spheres of light fill all of space. A Buddha sits in each light sphere, surrounded by bodhisattvas. From the hearts of these sublime beings, threads of light shoot into your heart. Om Mani Padme Hum. All the new shapes you see seem familiar. Everything you experience is the display of your mind. Do not feel shy of these figures. They are just your mind. Do not be afraid of these figures. Trust that your mind is creating what you see. Om Mani Padme Hum. Some figures are neither bright nor spectacular. Their soft, subdued tones attract you, and you are drawn to their mellow calm. They are more welcoming than the wrathful, sharp brilliance. Do not allow these gentler images to deceive you. Do not cozy up to them. If you do, they will quickly mature into all your familiar negative emotions, like anger, jealousy, and greed. You are attracted to these images simply because you know the emotions so well. Do not be drawn towards the subtle images. Om Mani Padme Hum. Focus on the most dazzling colors and vibrant figures. A light will shoot out from one of the blazing figures and pierce your eyes. Be joyful. Surrender to the light. Pray to the light. And always remember, everything you see is nothing but your own mind. You will be liberated.
Such great film, dear Rinpoche. Amazing. So I will read out the questions. What can we recite during the bardos of others? I'm lost. Can you repeat, Master?
Of course, you can recite so many different kinds of prayers. Now, especially if the person who have died is familiar with certain types of practice, then it is very beneficial to do that for them. As Rinpoche says here, it is very important to call them by the name though. Most important is then to have a sense of compassion, regardless of who they were, forgiveness, openness, to have a genuine wish to benefit them. Because we believe that they, being out of this physical form, their mind can sort of see our mind, so to speak, basically our thoughts. So if you sort of, while you are praying for them, if you have all kinds of thoughts, especially if you hold grudge against them or think about their mistakes and so on, it really doesn't help, and it harms. So that has to be avoided. And of course, you see right here in the book what Rinpoche says, yesterday, son or daughter of a noble family, which is, you have to take the name of that person. If it is whoever that person is, you were unable to dwell in the pure uncontrite Buddha state, page 134, 35, like this. You have to read that, exactly that.
Right, thank you. Our next question is, what is our own Dharmata? What do you mean by own?
Oh, sorry. Our own Dharmata, well, I guess Dharmata has no difference, right? Space, for example, there is no difference, sort of, actually there's no difference of space that is sort of right in front of me or 100 kilometers away from me. It's a non-existence of form. And so you can have 1,000 sort of vessels, all 1,000 empty vessels. You can say they have space in there. So although in reality there is no difference between the space of this vessel and that vessel, but our experience is that we feel I can use the space of this vessel only in this vessel. So you can say the space of this vessel, like that. You can say things like that. So similarly here, although the true nature of mind, our mind, my mind, your mind, is that there should be, they're inseparable. There should be no difference. And so, sometimes, so there is no difference. Yet, experience is very different. We experience differently. And so, one can say, own sort of the nature of my mind, nature of your mind. We can talk like this. So that is own Dharmata is meant by that. Own Dharmata. Yeah.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Right. The next question is, could we trust our feeling of familiarity? I'm asking because I noticed that familiarity is good in the case of a son who runs to her mother, in brackets Bardo of Dharmakaya, but not in the Bardo of Sambhogakaya, if you run to more familiar colors that are more dull and tolerable.
Well, familiarity, I guess it depends on how did you get familiar. If you get familiar, if you generate such familiarity out of right view, right conduct, right meditation, like that can be trusted, I suppose. That's why we do it, because we trust it. Whereas the other types of familiarity is not out of right view, right conduct, and right meditation, but, well, you see, it requires so much support from our Guru, their blessing. It requires support from our Dharma brothers and sisters, and it requires so much accumulation of merit and purification to actually recognize the Sambhogakaya, so appearance Bardo appearance as Sambhogakaya, and sort of the expression of the nature of our mind. This is it's easy to say like that, but yeah, I think sorry.
Thank you. The next question is, in the mental body, the Bardo being has equal to the subtle body we have in the Bardo of life. So is the mental body in the Bardo being equal to the subtle body we have in the Bardo of life?
Okay, so this is no, of course not. The subtle body, physical faculty like body, eyes, ears, nose. Someone is going into birth of death probably now. How strange is this? Look at this light. It's really, I feel like I'm in Bardo. You know? Anyway, physical form disintegrates. With that, subtle body also disintegrates. But much subtler body remains. I don't know about these things, but this is what I hear from the teachers. I don't know. I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to say such things. But other questions. But I feel confident about talking about these things because I feel the blessing of Rinpoche. So, Rinpoche. So I think like, okay, maybe it's okay. Yeah. Please, do you have any other questions?
I think that's all of the questions that I can see here. So thank you so much, dear Rinpoche. It's been a great pleasure to have you. We hope to meet you again very soon.
Yeah. So.
And I'm just going to thank all of the interpreters. And would you be able to do our dedication afterwards, or do you want me to?
Are you asking me?
Yes. Would you like to do the dedication? I will just quickly thank the interpreters. Yeah. So thank you also to our host, Michael, and our amazing interpreters, Ani Kunzang Pamo, Ariadne, Sashi, Albin, Luciana, and Tashi Wangmo. So we will now dedicate the merit from participating in this session.
Do you have dedication in English?
I do.
Maybe
we can.
You can do it.
Okay, no problem. This virtue.
Kirsten, just before you continue, there's a question here from Connie Moffat, who's asking Rinpoche, what about timing? Is 49 days really relevant?
Well, ordinary beings like us, we don't know what to do. We really don't. So we depend on teachings of Buddhas and our gurus that says, for most being 49 days, that's it. Actually, there are states, there are rebirth which doesn't have Bardo. Like if you're going to very deepest of hell realm, there is no Bardo. You just, the moment you die here, you're reborn there. Like that. There's no such thing as 49 days, like very instantaneous. Or sometimes we come across teachings where they say, oh, there's like some beings just wander in Bardo for like a whole aeon. So who can tell? But the general sort of explanation, what is happened to most beings is like this. So we do this, and I guess it is also for ourselves. It is also sort of like a climax, like, okay, that's it now, 49 days. You know. Yeah. But in reality, who can tell? This is what Rinpoche says in the book too, that you can look at signs, like while a person is dying and so, but he says, do not rely so much on that. Just repeat it all. So and again and again. Yeah. So
Thank you, dear
Rinpoche, there was another question. I'm sorry.
oh, of course.
This one came from one of our Chinese-speaking participants and has been translated. Would it be helpful if some kind of technology were used to present the Bardo state and let everyone simulate this experience in advance? Wow.
Actually, when recently I was in Rubin Museum, and they have an exhibition which is actually about Bardo. So, and they have this beautiful bench where people lie down, close their eyes. I don't know if they are closing their eyes or not. They have headphones, put the headphones. And I forgot if there is any visual going on the ceiling. But anyway, in the headphones, the person is reading Tibetan book of death, about the instructions of Bardos and experience like that. Sometimes, so technologies definitely help, I guess, if that's what the question is. Anyway, there are many ways of becoming familiar with Bardo experience, taught in the Tantras and Vajrayana path, which you should ask your teachers, and maybe they'll tell you. I have forgotten them anyway, so that's all.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you so much for all of your answers, for your teaching. It's been really, really great. We will now dedicate the merit of the session. This virtuous accumulation of merit we offer so that all obstacles dissolve, and that at the time of our death, each of us may find ease in dying and swift rebirth in the pure land of great bliss, quickly gaining enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings.
So thank you so much. And
thank you.
Yeah.
I hope you will be able to join us at our next a final session of the 6 Bardo series, the Bardo of Becoming, on 15th of October at 5:30 p.m. Sydney Daylight Savings Time. Thank you so much, Rinpoche. It's been such a pleasure to have you.
So thank you. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.